Hello Gothletts, and welcome to the third episode in the Pagan Origins Religion series on Stories to Fall Asleep to. So, I'm your host Sarah, you probably already know, and today we're diving deep into the pagan origins of the ancient Greek religion. As always, grab a drink, get warm and comfortable, and I shall begin. So when we think of ancient Greece, we conjure images of gods and goddesses, epic tales and magnificent temples. It is beautiful, rich, steep in history is Greece. But what lies beneath the surface? Join me as we explore the pagan roots that shaped the religious landscape of one of history's most iconic civilizations. And you can't say that enough. Nearly everyone's heard of ancient Greek and knows Zeus. To begin our journey, let's rewind back to the prehistoric era of Greece. This isn't to be confused with prehistoric and dinosaurs. This is basically just before everything was wrote down and recorded. Long before the rise of the Olympian pantheon, this was as well. Ancient Greeks practiced animism, and I'm hoping I've pronounced that right. There's a few words throughout this which I may struggle with, so bear with me. So let's explain animism, so you know what I'm going about. Animism is a belief system that attributes spiritual significance and consciousness to natural objects, animals, plants, and even phenomena like thunderstorms or rivers. Think of it as you will. There's a thunderstorm because the gods are angry, they're stamping around up there. You're giving it a consciousness. That's a very rudimental and simple way, but it expresses it. In animistic cultures, everything in the world is believed to possess a soul or a spirit. This worldview often includes rituals, ceremonies, and practices aimed at honouring and communing with those spirits, such as we see with a lot of religions. Animism, I couldn't pronounce it then, it's one of the oldest belief systems known to humanity. It has been practiced before numerous indigenous cultures around the world throughout history. So this has been going on for a long, long time. This is your Neolithic religion. It is a fundamental aspect of many indigenous religions and is deeply rooted in a holistic understanding of the interconnectedness of all living beings and the environment. And I'm guessing, again, this can be seen as a modern interpretation of butterfly effect, whereas it is true, but they believe one thing happens, it will affect something else. In animistic belief systems, there is often a profound respect for nature and an acknowledgement of humanity's place within the broader web of life. Animistics typically believe in maintaining harmony and balance with the natural world, as disrupting this balance can have spiritual repercussions. And I did mention about Taoists, and again, I've not looked into it in great detail, I will do. I see aspects of this there. Overall, animism represents a rich and diverse set of cultural beliefs that highlight the spiritual significance of the natural world and our interconnectedness with it. So this primal connection to nature laid the foundation for what would evolve into the complex religious beliefs of classical Greece. So let's go on our journey on, this Greek religion. To fully understand the ancient Greek religion, we have to go to the Minoan, I think that's pronounced correctly, civilization, which flourished on the Isle of Crete during the Bronze Age. So we're looking at 3000 to 1100 BCE. So they worshipped a pantheon of deities associated with nature, fertility, and the cycle of life and death. We've seen a pattern here yet. Their reverence for the earth and its abundance heavily influenced religious practices of the later Greek societies. Although much of Minoan religious practices and beliefs remain mysterious due to the lack of written records, and this is that prehistory. Archaeological evidence, again, there's not much of it left, and iconography and interpretation from later Greek mythology provides insight into their possible gods and goddesses. So a lot of it is speculation, but we can see some of it in there with the historical records. One prominent figure, there we go, nearly couldn't get my words out, in Minoan religion is Mother Goddess, often depicted with symbols of fertility such as snakes, birds, and poppies. She is believed to represent the earth's abundance and the cycle of life. Some scholars suggest that the mother goddess had different aspects, including a youthful maiden and a mature mother. And again, if we look at some of the Wiccan religions and pagan, we have that triad of deities for one. I will, in the description, for any scholar articles or further reading, or where I've got my information from, it will all be there for you to read in your own time. Another significant deity is the horned god, often depicted with bull horns or as a bull leaper. The bull held great symbolism in Minoan culture, representing strength, virility, and possible regeneration. Bull leaping rituals depicted in Minoan frescoes suggest the importance of this deity in religious ceremonies. I also get the Minotaur from all of this. Obviously, it's amalgamation of different religions coming forth. But, as soon as I looked that up and was researching, I was like, Minotaur comes straight to mind. Other potential gods and goddesses in the Minoan pantheon include the snake goddess. She's often depicted holding snakes in each hand, symbolising her connection to nature and fertility. The mistress of the animals, she's represented as a powerful figure surrounded by animals, signifying her dominion over the natural world. This is one I struggle to pronounce. The chthonic deities associated with the underworld and realm of the dead, possibly including figures like a goddess of harvest or a god of the afterlife. And there's the mountain god, and he reflected the Minoan reverence for mountainous landscapes. This deity may have been worshipped for protection and fertility even. And if you've ever been to Crete, where this came from, it is quite a mountainous landscape. Although I think they're more like hills, big hills. But it is absolutely beautiful, and you can see where these stories came from. It's important to note that our understanding of the Minoan pantheon is limited, as I said before, and interpretations may vary among scholars. The lack of written records makes it challenging to identify specific deities definitively. However, through archaeological discoveries and comparative studies with later Greek mythology, we can glean insights into the religious belief of the Minoan civilization. And it's very similar to the Egyptians, where they amalgamated religions, and some of their stories was, some of their creation stories was from other aspects of older beliefs, just evolving into their own. So now we sail across the Aegean Sea. We arrive at the shores of Anatolia. Again, I hope I pronounced that right, which is present-day Turkey. Here, the Hittites, or Hittites, I'm not sure. We'll go with Hitti's thrived, leaving behind a legacy of religious traditions that would seep into Greek culture. The worship of mother goddesses, such as, and this is one, I'm looking at this as I'm getting my notes, and this is I'm going to struggle with. Cybele. I don't think it's Sybil. It might be Sybil. We'll go with Cybele. If it's Sybil, okay, but it's spell Cyeele. So this mother goddess, and there's also a fertility rite which shaped the early Greek understanding of divine femininity. Sybil. We'll go with Sybil. I can pronounce that easy enough. Also known as Magna Mater, the Great Mother, or Mother of the Gods, was a major deity in the ancient world, particularly worshipped in Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, Greece, and Rome. She was associated with fertility and nature and protection of cities and civilizations. Again, you always tend to find this, there's a female deity that's charged with all of this. Yet we live in quite a male-dominated world. Here's some information about Cybele and some suggested sources for further reading, which again I put in the description. So, Cybele's origins and worship. Cybele's worship can be tracked back to Anatolia, as we said, where she was worshipped as an earth goddess and fertility deity. Her cult, and again, a cult isn't this bad thing when we're mentioning it here. Cult is just a group of people that have a specific god out of the pantheon, which is their major deity. So her cult likely originated among the ancient, oh wow, I forgot about this word, Pagans, and spread through the region, and I apologise if I have butchered that. Cybele was often depicted as a seated or enthroned figure, adorned with towers and lions and symbols of power and fertility. The cult of Cybele in Greece. So we're going into Cybele's worship here, which was adopted by the ancient Greeks, where she was known as Kybele, so K-Y-B-L-E. In Greece, her cult became associated with Dionysus, the god of wine and fertility, and her rites included ecstatic ceremonies and music and dancing. I like the sound of this. Cybele was often depicted riding a chariot drawn by lions, symbolising her power over wild animals. I think that's just beautiful. I'm pretty sure if you look at some ancient Greek pottery and artifacts, we'll probably see it somewhere. So Cybele's cult was introduced to Rome during the Republican era and became increasingly popular during the imperial period. The Romans identified Cybele with their own Magna Mater, that great mother goddess, and adopted her worship into their religious practices. So that's that amalgamation again, happening all over. Cybele's annual festival, the Megalessa, became a prominent event in the Roman calendar. Cybele's priests, known as the Galli or Galli, were eunuch diverters. You can Google that for yourself, who performed rituals and ceremonies in her honour. They were known for their ecstatic worship, including self-flagellation and castration, hence eunuch, which were seen as acts of diversion and sacrifice. And I'm not going to go too much into that because there is a lot more to, especially self-flagellation and castration as a form of devotion, which was adopted by some Catholic and Christian offshoots. Archaeological studies and primary sources from antiquity offer valuable even information about the cult of Cybele and its impact on religious practices in the ancient world. And I can see that. Again, there's some sources there I will put in the description. We're moving forward a bit again, and another word coming up that I find hard to pronounce. So we encounter the Mycenaeans, a civilization deeply intertwined with the ancient Greeks. Excuse me. The Mycenaeans worshipped a pantheon of gods reminiscent of those found in later Greek mythology. So this is where we are seeing some of the Greek gods come in. So deities like Zeus, Hera, Poseidon can trace their origins back to the religious practices of the enigmatic civilization. Now we get to what is regarded as perhaps the most significant influence on ancient Greek religion, which came from the Indo-Europeans. So these are a group of nomadic people who migrated into the region about 2000 BCE. Their pantheon of gods, known as the Proto-Indo-European pantheon, laid the groundwork for the gods and goddesses worshipped by the Greeks. So again, it's this amalgamation of taking what you like, not bending it to your will, but identifying with the practices and the religions. And I'm sorry if my sound keeps going in and out. I'm a bit uncomfortable. I'm having to record in a different space due to work going on in the house, so I'm just moving to try and get comfy. One of the most striking similarities between ancient Greek religion and its pagan predecessors is the concept of the sacred marriage, and we saw this in the summer. I can't pronounce it now. The Sumerians. There we go. I finally got it. It took me a bit. And the Egyptians. So this ritual union, it's between a god and a goddess, symbolizes the union of heaven and earth, fertility, and the renewal of life. Sacred marriage, as I've just mentioned, can be tracked back to the Sumerians, Egyptians, and other ancient cultures, demonstrating the interconnectedness. I think that's going to be the word of this podcast, interconnectedness of religious beliefs across the ancient world. So as we unravel the threads of history, it becomes clear that the ancient Greek religion was a tapestry woven from beliefs and practices in countless civilizations. And we definitely can see that as we're going through all of this. From the animism of the prehistoric tribes to the mythologies of the great empires, each culture did leave its mark on the religious landscape of Greece. So we're going to go now a bit more into some of the Greek religion. We've come how it's come from its pagan roots there, but I just wanted to explore a bit more about it. So the rise of polis, or city-state, marked a pivotal era in Greek religious development. According to Burkert, and again I'll cite this in the description, communal worship of deities such as Athena, patroness of Athens, and Zeus, chief of the Olympian gods, played a central role in civic life, fostering unity and identity among citizens. So we're going to go on to the Olympic Games, and these were held in honour of Zeus at Olympia, exemplifying the fusion of religious devotion and athletic competition in ancient Greece. These sacred contests underscored the connectedness, okay, that's that word again, of physical prowess and spiritual reverence in Greek culture. And, the Olympics still persist to this day, although it's not as much as a religious honouring as it was in Greece. It's still that prowess of athleticism and competition. The connection between the Olympics and ancient Greek religion runs deep, intertwining religious devotion, athletic competition, and civic identity. So there's some key points here I'm going to highlight about the relationship. So the ancient Greek Olympic Games were held in honour of Zeus, the chief deity of the Greek pantheon. The games were believed to have been founded by Hercules, or Heracles. So it's Heracles, Greek, Hercules, Roman, as a tribute to his father Zeus. According to the myth, Heracles established the Olympic Games after completing his famous 12 labours. I'm not going to go into that story, but do Google it. It's a great story, great myth, great morals. It's a good read. The Olympic Games were not merely athletic contests, but they were also imbued with religious significance. The opening ceremonies included rituals such as sacrifice, processions, and oaths sworn to Zeus by athletes and officials. These ceremonies reinforced the sacred nature of the games and underscored the athletics' dedication to the gods. Now, obviously, we don't have that nowadays. We do have an opening ceremony and a closing ceremony, so there still is some of that aspects here, but a lot of the religious significance is dissipated. The sanctuary of Olympia, where the Olympic Games were held, was home to the renowned Temple of Zeus. This temple housed a colossal statue of Zeus, crafted by sculptor Philadelphus, which was considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The presence of this magnificent temple emphasized the divine context of the games and reinforced their religious significance. Can you imagine it? Going to Olympia to compete in front of, this major deity, the god of gods. How beautiful, how inspiring, and how spiritual it must have been back in the day. The Olympic Games served as an unifying force among the various Greek city-states. During the Olympic truce, and there is a word for that, I'm not even going to pronounce it, which was declared before and during the Games, conflicts between city-states were suspended to ensure safe passage for athletes and spectators travelling to Olympia. So this temporary cessation of hostilities exemplified the importance of religious observation in fostering peace and unity among the Greek cultures. And again, granted, it's not as pleasant as that nowadays with all the conflicts going on. But you imagine these games not only held that significance for the athletes and the spectators, but it was a time of peace and unity. It was possibly something very special to behold. In Greek culture, physical prowess and athletic achievement were often viewed as manifestations of divine favour. So, those who were blessed are blessed. Victorious athletes were celebrated as heroes and were honoured with accolades and statues and even monetary rewards. And we see this continuing today. Athletes get this pay, get this reverence. They get put on this pedestal as role models, and, that continues. And maybe we have the Greeks to blame for some of that. The pursuit of excellence in athletes was seen as a way to honour the gods and achieve immortal glory. Overall, the Olympic Games served as a nexus of religious, athletic and civil life in ancient Greece. The connection between the Olympics and Greek religion underscored the profound influence and religious beliefs and rituals on every aspect of ancient Greek society, from individual pursuits to communal celebrations. Yet, Greek religion was not confined to the public sphere. Mystery cults, such as the Eleusinian mysteries dedicated to Demeter and Persephone, offered initiates the promise of spiritual enlightenment and hope of a blessed afterlife. And there is a Burkert citation there. It will be in the description. The philosophical inquiries of thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle challenged traditional beliefs and simulated intellectual discourse about the nature of divinity and human existence. And we see these great Greek philosophers coming out and we still discuss them to this day. Ancient Greek has had a profound impact on modern culture, and it survived. With the conquests of Alexander the Great, Greek religion spread across the Mediterranean world, influencing the religious synchronicity of Hellenistic cultures. And we saw that in the Egyptian religion series about the Hellenistic religion coming across and getting amalgamated with the ancient Egyptian. As Rome even rose to prominence, Greek religious traditions persisted, assimilating into the fabric of Rome religious practices and leaving an indelible mark on the Western civilization, as I've already mentioned. It's there for everyone to see. So, what can we learn from this exploration of pagan origins of ancient Greek religion? Perhaps it's a reminder of the universality of human experience, our innate connection to the natural world, and the enduring power of myth and ritual. One thing I do know is we see it in everyday life, whether we are conscious of it or not, with our reverence for those who are athletically blessed. The pantheon of gods, we still mention their gods. We still mention the beauty of Greece. Through all its turmoil, it is still beautiful. So, that is it, my Gothletts, for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. I've got an idea what I'm going to do next week. I'm keeping it a secret. So I do have a lot going on at home. Hopefully I'll be back in my room where I can record and be more comfortable. As always, thank you for getting this far with me. Please drop us a like, subscribe, follow us on our social media. Feel free to drop us a message with your thoughts and feelings on anything we discuss in this. We're always welcome to talk. So, that is it, my Gothletts. Until next time.